The Red Wings take on the Canadiens, 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop. Montreal's minus 145, totals 5.5. We're hitting at 64% in our last 11 NBA tier package picks on brockpage.com. And the good news is we have another NBA tier package pick going off here this evening. We're also 7-2 in our last 9 $1.99 daily best plays on that very same website. And if you want to access today's $1.99 daily best play, it's only going to cost you just $1.99. We currently have over 700 members who are signed up and active on that page. And if you want to see which one of these free YouTube picks on this channel that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for a membership on my website at brockpage.com. Jake Allen's the starting goaltender for Montreal. Alex Nedeljkovic for Detroit. Alex comes into today's start with a .900 save percentage. And despite the absence of Bertuzzi and possibly Lindstrom and Ernie, the Canadiens have a list of injured guys as well, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Now, regardless of all that, the Red Wings are in the top 10 in the league in road scoring. Lucas Raymond has 4 goals on the season, 9 total points for the right winger. They're taking on a 2-8 Montreal club, who's in the bottom 5 in the NHL in goals allowed per contest. Meanwhile, offensively, Montreal is averaging only 1.9 goals a game. When it comes to the injury report, Christian Paquette is out. Petrie, Gallagher, and Evans are questionable. Now, total-wise, 3 out of Montreal's last 4 home games fell under the number. Meanwhile, 2 out of Detroit's last 3 fell under the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward Detroit plus $1.25 in the under 5.5. Next game, Golden Knights, Maple Leafs, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. Toronto's minus 185, total 6. Jack Campbell for Toronto, Robin Lehner for Vegas. Lehner's just 3-4 on the season with a .300 goals against average. The Knights are in the bottom 3 in the league in defensive shots on goal. They're allowing 36 shots on goal a game on the road. They're taking on a Toronto club here who's 3-1 with an overtime loss at home this year. The Leafs are in the top 5 in the NHL in offensive shots on goal. Jonathan Tavares has 7 points on the year, 3 goals, 4 assists for the center. Meanwhile, William Nylander has 3 goals, 3 assists on the year himself. Now, defensively, the Leafs are allowing just 27 shots on goal a game at home. Jack Campbell's 3-2, 231 goals against average, .918 save percentage. Now, injury-wise, Toronto's relatively healthy right now. Meanwhile, for the Knights, a little bit different story. As Pacioretty and Stone, they're still out. Cardinals out indefinitely. Carlson, is out indefinitely as well. Meanwhile, Hutton, Jan Mark, and Amadio, they're listed as questionable. 2 out of Vegas' last 3 road games fell under the number. Toronto's 6-3 to the under for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward Toronto minus 185 in the under 6. Next game, Coyotes, Flyers, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. Phillies minus 250, totals 5.5. Carter Hart for the Flyers, Karel Vejmelka for the Coyotes. Karel's 0-5. The Coyotes are still winless after 9 games this year, and they allow more goals per contest than any other team in hockey. They also score fewer goals per contest than any other team in the NHL as well. Arizona scoring just 1.3 goals a game when they travel. And if you like them catching the 1.5 on the puck line here, just keep in mind the Coyotes failed to cover the number in 7 out of their last 9 games as well. They're taking on a Philly team who's 4-3 against the number through 7 contests. The Flyers are in the top 3 in home scoring, and they're led by Cam Atkinson, who's got 6 goals on the year. He's actually 5th in the NHL in plus-minus. Now, Joel Farabee's tied with Atkinson in that plus-minus category. Both players are a +9. Now, defensively, Philadelphia's in the top 5 in fewest third-period goals allowed. Carter Hart comes into today's start with a .279 goals against average, .915 save percentage. Now, injury-wise, Ellis is out for Philly. Schmaltz is questionable for the Coyotes. When it comes to the total in this one, 8 out of Arizona's last 10 meetings with the Flyers got over the line. Philadelphia is 3-1 to the over at the Wells Fargo Center this year. I'm going to lean toward Philadelphia minus 1.5 and the over 5.5 goals. Next game, Senators Wild, 8 o'clock Eastern puck drop. Minnesota's minus 220, totals 5.5. Cam Talbot for Minnesota. Philip Gustafson for Ottawa. The Senators have lost 4 out of their last 5. They're scoring only 2 goals a game on the road. And they're averaging only 25 shots on goal a game when traveling. Meanwhile, defensively, Ottawa's in the bottom 10 in third period goals allowed. They're taking on a Minnesota club who's in the top 10 in home scoring, top 3 in home shots on goal. Matt Zuccarello leads the club in points with 7 of them. Foligno and Kaprizov, they have 6 points apiece as well. Now defensively, the Wild allows only 27 shots on goal a game at home. Cam Talbot's 5-2 with a .255 goals against average, .912 save percentage. Now injury-wise, keep an eye on Goligoski, Kulikov, and Zuccarello. Those guys are questionable for tonight's action. 2 out of Ottawa's last 3 got over the total of 5.5 goals. Give me Minnesota minus 1.5 over 5.5. Next game, Stars Jets, 8 o'clock East. Winnipeg's minus $1.25, totals 5.5. Connor Hellebuyck for Winnipeg, Braden Holtby for Dallas. The Stars are scoring just 1.8 goals a game for the entire season. They're also dead last in the league in third period scoring. The Stars are on a 3-game losing streak, 2-5 straight up in their last 7. They're taking on a Winnipeg squad who won 4 out of their last 5 themselves. The Jets are leading the NHL in scoring on average per game at home. Kyle Connor's second in the league with in goals with 7 of them. 7 goals for Connor. Kyle Connor's also 4th in the NHL in points with 14. Meanwhile, Pierre-Luc Dubois scored 6 times and has 10 points on the year himself. Dallas is 5-0 to the under on the road, 8-0 to the under for the whole year. Give me Winnipeg minus $1.25 and the under 5.5. Next game, Predators Flames, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Calgary's minus 150, totals 5.5. Jacob Markstrom for Calgary, UC Saros for Nashville. The Preds have failed to cash in on the puck line in 5 out of their last 8 contests. Nashville is also in the bottom 5 in road goals allowed. They're taking on a Calgary team who's 6-1 with an overtime loss on the year. The Flames lead the NHL in offensive shots on goal at home. They're also in the top 3 in scoring. Johnny Gaudreau has 11 points on the year, plus 7 when he's on the ice. And speaking of plus-minus, defenseman Rasmus Andersson leads the NHL as a plus 10. And speaking of defense, Calgary allows only 1.5 goals a game at home. They're holding their opponents to just 23 shots on goal a game at the Saddle Dome. Jake Markstrom is 4-1 on the year, 133 goals against average, .957 save percentage. When it comes to the total in this one, Calgary saw their last 2 home games fall under the line, fell under the total. Nashville's 5-3 to the under for the entire season. Give me Calgary minus 150 and the under 5.5. Next game, Devils Ducks, 10 o'clock Eastern puck drop. New Jersey's minus 135, totals 5.5. Scotty Wedgwood for New Jersey, John Gibson for Anaheim. The Ducks have lost 6 out of their last 7. Bottom 3 in the league in goals allowed per contest. Silverberg's questionable for tonight's game. They're taking on a Jersey team who's allowing only 28 shots on goal a game. Defenseman Ryan Graves is a plus 5. Dougie Hamilton a plus 4. The Devils are first in the NHL in fewest second period goals allowed. And oddly enough, 5 out of New Jersey's last 7 outings got over the posted total. The Ducks are also 70% to the over for the entire season themselves. Give me New Jersey minus 135 and the over 5.5. Next game, Rangers Canucks, 10 o'clock Eastern start. New York's minus 135, totals 5.5. Igor Shesterkin for the Rangers. Thatcher Demko for Vancouver. The Canucks are on a 3-game losing streak, 2-5 straight up in their last 7. Vancouver scores just 1.3 goals a game, and they're currently winless at home. They're taking on a Rangers club who won 5 of 6 on the road this year. They gave up only 1.8 goals per contest during that stretch. Defenseman Adam Fox is a +5. He's also the team's leading points getter with 9. And speaking of points, Kreider and Panarin, they each have 8 points apiece. New York's in the top 3 in fewest goals allowed per contest on the road. They're also 6-0 to the under on the road this year, 8-1 to the under for the whole season. Vancouver's 3-0 to the under at home, 7-2 to the under for the whole year themselves. Give me New York minus 135 and the under 5.5. Next and final matchup, Sabres, Sharks, 10:30 Eastern start time. San Jose is minus 150, total 6. Aiden Hill for San Jose, Craig Anderson for Buffalo. Anderson's 4-1 with a 198 goals against average, 939 save percentage. The Sabres allow only 2.1 goals per contest. They lead the NHL in fewest first period goals allowed on the road. Meanwhile, offensively, Buffalo's in the top 10 in second period scoring. Victor Olofsson has 5 goals on the season, 9 total points for the right winger. They're taking on a Sharks team who lost 3 out of their last 4. They have an absurd amount of guys on the injury report. I think it's COVID related, but anyway, Vlasic, Couture, Coliano, Carlson, Nieto, LeBlanc, Middleton, Simek, and Dahlin. They're all listed as questionable for tonight's contest. The Sharks are currently dead last in first period scoring at home. When it comes to the number in this one, 2 out of San Jose's last 3 home games fell under the posted total. 5-3 to the under for the entire season. Meanwhile, 2 out of Buffalo's last 3 road games fell under the total themselves. 5-3 to the under for the whole year as well. Give me Buffalo plus $1.25 and the under 6. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. Powered to you by my website at brockpage.com, where we are hitting at 64% in our last 11 NBA tier package picks. I like Detroit plus $1.25 under 5.5. Toronto minus 185 under 6. Philadelphia minus 1.5 over 5.5 goals. Minnesota minus 1.5 over 5.5. Winnipeg minus $1.25 under 5.5. Calgary minus 150 under 5.5 goals. New Jersey minus 135 over 5.5. New York Rangers minus 135 under 5.5. And before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are hitting at 64% our last 11 NBA tier package picks on brockpage.com. We're also 7-2 in our last 9 $1.99 daily best plays on that very same website. I'm going to lead toward Buffalo plus $1.25 and the under 6. With that, guys, now it's time for our shout out of the day. And that's going to go to 420 Parlay King, who said earlier today, "Morning, Brock Page." All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on brockpage.com. Now, if you guys do end up getting a membership here today on that website, just keep in mind, you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today on brockpage.com, you're going to get access to that content all the way through the end of November. I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Tuesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at brockpage.com.